Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and this is Memory Keeper Journals. This is the continuation of the file folder. I'm gonna try and finish it off today by gluing it all together and then decorating. And we should be working on some ephemera. And here I was just trying to see what else I can do to it. I did decorated the first pocket on the left. And then the one where I used the page protector, it didn't come out straight. So if you see, it was like a little bit warped there, but I put the lace just to cover it a little bit. I was only able to do 4 pockets, not the big pocket like I wanted to, but it was all right. I figured this is how I'm going to use it anyway. But now I'm just going to glue it together. And this time I'm just going to use the wet glue, the PVA glue, and just put it together and you'll see how it'll come out. I really would suggest you just use the beacon glue because that one doesn't warp the paper. Not that this one was warped, but it was a lot easier and faster. It dries faster than the wet glue. I've noticed that. And I'm kind of leaning towards using the beacon glue a lot more often than not now. It's just that it's a little bit more expensive and I actually have to buy it through Amazon because I can never find it at Walmart. I really didn't think about it either, and I wanted to do like a gusset in the middle of this file folder. So if I wanted to put something else inside of it, it's not going to be very much because it doesn't have enough space on the bottom for me to add more than a few folders or papers and ephemera at the same time because it's going to get too bulky. So if you guys are interested in creating something like that, I suggest you do a gusset in the spine portion, at least for 1/2 inch or something, so that you can add more than what you want to into this file. But if you create like more than one of these files and you decorate it the way that you want, it becomes really sturdy anyway, so you can use it for so many things. And I think that's what I want to do with my files, at least to put all of my papers and anything I'm working on at the moment. That would be pretty fun. I mean, I think that the idea behind it that Heather at Roseau Paper Cottage had in terms of using it when you are creating something, you have all of the papers that you need in that specific file, and you don't have to keep going crazy looking everywhere to see where you left what and where you put what, or you just can put everything that you need that you want to use for that specific project in just this one file, which is pretty cool. I think it is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for crafting. You can use it for anything else. So, for example, for me, if I wanted to do a study or something, I can put all of my papers in here, all my notes, anything that I need. So what I'm going to use, mine is, this one is going to be for a Happy Mail, but I want to do one for myself where I can put all of my receipts and my sales and everything that has to do with my Etsy shop. That way I can find everything in one file. And that will help me a lot too. So you see here, I was struggling with the wet glue, just trying to put as much as I could in there. And then you have to wait for it to dry. And in the middle, like because I had already cut the file folder that was going to be connected to the front folder, I had to cut a little bit of it just so that it could fit inside. And then I kind of cut too much and ended up having the middle section exposed. So I had to cover it with a washi tape. I did use the washi tape that I bought from Amity Bloom, and her tapes are so pretty. It's not going to look bad to see that right in the middle. So I use it as a decoration. And besides, once you put something inside, you really don't see it anyway. But when I do take it out and open it up, it still looks pretty, and it has the blue that matches, and Yeah, so you can just decorate it however you want. I'm just trying to show you how I'm doing it, how I would like to have it. So because I knew this was going to take a while, after this was already glued on, I had to put it aside just so that it dried, and then I started working on the ephemera that I wanted to add into this folder. Here I'm just burnishing it just so that it can get stuck really good. It does help. And some of the glue seeps out, but yeah, you just clean it out and it's fine. And once it was glued together, guys, it becomes so sturdy, so strong. It won't mess up at all. You can put a lot of stuff inside and it won't break because it was really sturdy. Plus I sewed all around it too, so those folders were not going to break. So while you guys are watching me do this, I wanted to apologize because it did take me a very long time for me to edit this video and upload it to YouTube for you guys to watch, as I promised before. But I have been through some health issues, and I also help my kids with the kiddos. I know I've mentioned this before. Basically what I'm gonna do is not to promise that I'm gonna put it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So just gonna make sure that you do get to see the videos of what I promised that I was going to share. I mean, at least to the ending project, the end of the project, because I want you to see how it came out and what it took to get it done. And this is a matter of like 2 hours or so every time that I sit down to try and do a project. If I'm not doing this, I'm actually working on some journals, and especially for my Etsy shop, and some of the journals that I am doing for my family as well, that I'm still working on. I have so many that I'm working on at the same time, so it takes a while, you know. And sometimes, you know, the inspiration that you had in the beginning, it's kind of gone, and so you have to wait till something comes up in your mind that you can actually do it, or something has to give me inspiration. So for example, if I go to a store and I start looking at things, or if I'm looking at Pinterest, or something has to give me some kind of inspiration just to be able to continue doing what I was doing. Otherwise, it just like I sit there and I look at it and I don't even know where to start, you know? I kind of lose my mojo sometimes. But then there's days where I could just sit here and do it for hours, you know, on end, because I hyper focus on what I'm doing, and I until it's not done, I won't stop. But that's not very often. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and clip it together so that it sticks and stays together. So it glues together so it doesn't come off until it dries out. Because this is, since it's a water-based glue, it takes a little bit to dry. So I'm just gonna put it aside and we're gonna start working on the ephemera. But I love it. I think it came out pretty cute. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna decorate the front, even though that is pretty as is. But sometimes I feel like I probably needed something else on it. Not sure yet. Okay, so now I'm going to clear out the stuff that I'm not using at the moment and make some space. And then we're going to work on the ephemera. You'll probably hear my dog because she's snoring. She's always laying by me when I'm editing videos. Okay, so I took the leftover papers that I was using on that file folder, and then I was trying to figure out what do I want to use. So I take all kinds of papers out. I have all these vintage bits and pieces that I have in this little baggie where I purchased from Heather in her shop from Rose Hill Paper Cottage. Also have some handmade paper, and so I decided that I was going to create a what is this called? Oh my goodness, a masterboard. Once I create a masterboard, I can cut it into tags or journaling cards, anything. You can do anything with it. So I figured this is the best way to start. And usually when I don't know what I want to do, that's usually how I start. I do it that way. Or I could do it in a different way, kind of like I watch some of the videos from Ruby and Pearl, and she does it with like pieces of paper bag and or bits and pieces of paper that she's got around, and she puts them together. And I just love the way she does that. She just she uses her nails and scratches the edges of them to make it look like they're old and they've been in there for a long time, and just trying to make the paper more vintage. And I love that. And I've tried it and it comes out really pretty. And I had totally forgot about it here. I just remembered now, but I could have done it that way too. I had some of that tissue paper there on the side that I could have used to start creating the um, tags or the journaling cards or whatever. But it's okay. I did the masterboard, and then I cut it into pieces, and you'll see what I do. These papers that I'm using for collaging are very delicate. Some of them are very antique, so they break. So I probably you noticed in one of them I was using the glue stick, and when I was gonna put it on, it got stuck to my finger and it broke. It's just so brittle. It breaks easy, but you if even if it's like that, you can go ahead and glue it onto a cardboard like to a cardstock like I'm doing here, and you keep adding more paper to it and more things to decorate it. It'll make it stronger anyway, and then you'll be able to use it. And I'm only using not just to use it, but at least it won't break, you know what I mean? And I'm only using the glue stick right now because eventually once I cut it, I'm gonna go ahead and put it through my sewing machine to do decorating edges, and so it's even stronger. It won't mess up. So masterboards are always good for anything, at least to start out. I can create a whole bunch of them and have them aside, and whenever I need a tag or whatever, I can cut a piece of it and do it. So here I was just putting pieces of tissue paper. So I'm gonna collage that in there as well. And it's so thin, it glues really quickly with your glue stick. I love the way it looks because you can see through. So even though you have the vintage paper in the background, it's not like you can't see it. You'll be able to see it through that tissue paper. Then after this, Not sure if it's right after the tissue, but I end up using some of my distress inks to age it a bit and to make it a little bit grungy. Um, and I do it, guys, but I ended up not liking it too much. I used it, and I used part of those papers that I had from the paper pad that were left over from the folder to decorate those tags. But I don't think I was completely satisfied with it. So here's when I'm using the ink. So what I use is a piece of the acetate from a package, and I spray it with the inks and add a little bit more water to dilute it a bit, and then I just splatter it everywhere on the paper. Whatever's left over, I put it on the tissue so I could use it later. So here I'm drying it off because I'm impatient. I needed to get done quickly. So I was trying to see if I can make it a little bit lighter because it was so, I think I put too much when I sprayed it the first time. It got kind of dark, and I really wanted to see the vintage paper, but I kind of covered it up. I mean, part of it is going to be covered up anyways because I'm going to put some other papers to decorate it and create the tag. But here I decided to use some of the blue just to break it up a little bit and give it some color so it's not just brown. So every time that I dry it gives me more room for me to add another color and it won't mix it. I also wanted to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Some of you are leaving comments on my videos, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that. Um, I wasn't really expecting any of it. It was usually when I ask questions, sometimes I get some answers, and not necessarily all the time. I do the same thing in my Instagram. I put some questions and I ask, uh, what do you do? Or do you journal? Do you uh, decorate your pages prior to or during your journaling? What do you use your journals for? And the only reason why I do this is because I want to know what are your interests? What do you like? What do you like to do with these journals? Not everybody does. Not everybody cares to have a journal. You know, I've I have been looked at like there's something wrong with me just because I'm creating journals. And I think journals for me is an escape, is something that I can use to bring all my thoughts in paper. And if there is anything that is worrying me and I put it on paper, it's out of my mind and out of sight, you know. It works like that for me, and I love it. And I also love to write about my kids, my grandkids, and I put pictures just so I can remember. You know, my family deals with Alzheimer's, or like my grandmother, and also from my dad's side, and dementia and things like that. So I cherish family and memories and things like that, especially with my kiddos. I like to remember everything. And if God forbid one day I end up having Alzheimer's, which I hope I don't, um, or anybody in my family, they have something that they can go back to, and see, their history or memories or things that we have experienced together. I know how difficult it is to be close to someone and you talk to that person all the time, and all of a sudden that person doesn't recognize you anymore, and that hurts really bad. um I miss my aunt. She used to be the one that I would go to for anything and everything, and she was always there for me ever since my mom passed away. So she was like a second mom to me, and she was like a grandma to my kiddos, you know. And she recently passed away, and I couldn't even say goodbye. And that was like the hardest thing I've ever been through, besides my mom passing away and a lot of other things. But and to be honest, just writing it down on my journal was, was a total relief. It's not the only thing, of course. I read my Bible and I pray, and if it wasn't for my Lord Jesus Christ, I probably wouldn't be okay right now, but I am. And so I am creating journals and sharing it with you guys. So I cut these already, like tags. They were 6 by 4. And then I decided to decorate it and just took everything out. Anything that I thought I could use to decorate. And I had just recently purchased this texture paste and these Tim Holtz stencils, and decided, ooh, I'm gonna play with this for a little bit and see how it comes out, because I've done it before, but I've done it with other stencils and gesso, not necessarily texture paste, so it doesn't come out the same, because this one is like raised and it looks so nice. So here you can see I'm using the leftover papers that I had used on the file to decorate the tag, and some of these beautiful pieces of fabric that I bought from Amy at Flushy May. And I just cut them in pieces, and look how beautiful that looks. And yes, it's really grungy, but I love it. It came out really cute. I wasn't expecting it to be that way, though. That little part where it shows a little bit of that distress ink being so dark, that I did not like. I like it a little bit grungy, but not too grungy. So here's the beacon. I'm using that so I can put this coffee dye paper that I coffee dyed myself on the background. That way it's easier to write on. And it covers the stitching, like I mentioned, I believe in the first or second video. Don't remember. And by the way, I'm going to link the videos below in the description box in case you've missed the first and the second one, okay? I did stitch around it first, and then I'm gluing it onto my coffee dye paper. And then you just cut the excess of it, and there you have it. A cute tag. I'm just gathering everything together because once everything starts getting a little bit messy, I can't concentrate. I don't know if that happens to you when you're crafting, but I can't have too much on my table because it overwhelms me. So here it is, the second tag that I created. And again, it's still too grungy on the right side. So I try to cover it up with some of these papers to decorate it. I put some handmade papers that were already embossed. And then that blue one on the side as well, I did an emboss with, I actually took the texture paste and I added some acrylic paint for the blue, that color blue to match the folder. So that's gonna look really cute just to add those tags in the folder. It looks like here I'm adding a little bit more of that writing paper. That it's actually from TaylorMadeJournals, and it's from one of her digitals that is called The Art of Writing. I love that digital. I use it a lot on all of my projects. And that little round little box, that's so cute. I got that from Flushy May. What is the name of her? I'll link her below so you can check her out on Instagram because she sells a lot of quilt and fabric and cute antique ephemeras or vintage ephemera that you can use. I love it. I got a whole bunch of buttons, vintage buttons and things like that. So I'm definitely going to be using that a lot. And this one gave me a little bit of a hard time. I couldn't figure out how to um, decorate it. And I think that what was bothering me, it was just that spot where the ink was just too saturated there. So if you really like it really grungy, that would have been it. But I'm not sure if I covered the whole thing. I can't remember at this time when I'm editing the video if I did or not. I'm not sure why I left it that way. Maybe at that moment I wanted the grunge. I mean, it was okay. I just don't like it too grungy. So here I'm showing you that I go over it with the sewing machine. And I just sew only in the edges. And I use a black thread so that you can see it. There's a contrast on it. And by the way, the lace that I put on there, or the fabric, I usually use the baking glue and I glue it on there first so that when I'm sewing it, it doesn't move. and it works perfect. And there you have it. There's the second tag. So now I just get rid of all the excess on the side and do the same thing like the other one, and glue the coffee dye paper in the background where the cardstock is so that you don't see the stitches. I did that coffee dye paper, guys. If you ever want to see me dyeing paper, just let me know. I'm actually saving some of the avocado skins because I have not yet tried it, and I've been dying to see how it comes out. I've seen people do their avocado dyeing paper and they come out pink. I never thought that the green avocado skin will actually make the paper look pink. So I am definitely wanting to do that. So if you guys want to see that video, let me know, and I'll film just inking my papers. This one that I did was with coffee. That's easy. I just put it in the oven for a couple of minutes and I dry it in there. I don't leave my papers all around to dry. I have dogs, so if I put it anywhere, forget it, they'll get into it. And we use our table too, so I'm not going to leave it on the table or anything like that. But so I just use it, I put it in the oven for a couple of minutes and I switch them here and there. So I could be standing in front of the stove for a few hours, you know. Oh, here, this is gesso. See, that was bothering me a bit. So I went and I added gesso just to lighten it up a bit. Because it's okay. I like the grunge, but not too much, like I said. I don't mind the grunge, but I don't like it looking like it's dirty. So here I just blended gesso on the papers that I had put on everything, just so that it blends in and it's all connected. I think I was adding a little bit of pink here. Some of my distress ink that I have. Yeah, I add a little bit of color on the white part. And then I was trying to add the tissue on top of it too. Just to cover it a bit. I don't know. I just felt like it was like too dark. It was bothering me, but anyway, guys, this is the last of it. This just 2 of the tags that I created that I'm going to be putting in my folder. Thank you for watching. See you next time.